of Brazil. Um, I wanted to go ahead and do a video about what's happening in Venezuela. As you know, I've been kind of updating you guys here and there about some of what's been happening, but it's just been so much. I think the U.S. has been in Venezuela harassing them people and threatening them for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months now. So, as I suspected, I felt the energy. The U.S. went ahead this morning at about 1 a.m. and went in for a full military attack, full-scale attack. It was a missile attack, and they had been basically bombing parts of Caracas, Venezuela, since 1 a.m. this morning. Apparently, they're still doing it. I didn't even know that. Supposedly, during all of this, there was some on-the-ground missions, and they went in and secured the president and his wife, that's President Maduro, and have taken them to New York State, where they'll be undergoing some kind of tribunal, something for narco-terrorism, some crazy shit. Y'all, this stuff is serious, and I have been trying to tell you that it was not looking good, that because of that national security strategy 2025 that was published by the feds, by the U.S. government, detailing what their plans were going forward in terms of their relationships with all the countries and regions of the world. They outlined it in that particular document, and they published it at the end of November for all of us to see online. I keep telling people this is what they're doing right now. It's not just oil. It's not just this or that. It's not narco anything. They have a plan. They have something that they're trying to implement, and it's from the National Security Strategy 2025, which is basically a spin-off in terms of what they want to do here in Latin America, is a spin-off of the Monroe Doctrine from the late 1800s, in which they said that Latin America was the playground of the United States. Not the playground, but the backyard. In other words, they should have their way with the Latin American countries. They should be able to do whatever they want down here. That is the mentality they have. And so what's happening right now is they are gone into action mode. Trump and his crazy, he's not about nothing but action. He likes to get busy, y'all. He likes to get busy. And so he has been getting busy for the year that he has been in office. And he has not stopped. And what they're doing right now is they have just shown and made a strong message to the entirety of Latin America that we do whatever we want down here, basically. That's why they have military bases set up in the Virgin Islands, which it is the U.S. Virgin Islands, so they can do that. They're down in Trinidad, which is a sovereign country of its own, a sovereign island. They have set up on Trinidad because they have a sellout prime minister there. And there are various countries that they have been blackballing and giving problems to because they have not sided with the U.S. in terms of this military strategy. And they literally have launched physical attacks, what they call kinetic attacks, in Venezuela overnight tonight. Just bombing the place out. And they made up all these stories about it being about narco this and narco that. And Venezuela's not even high on the list of traffickers into the U.S. for anything. And the real issues they have in terms of that is China and Mexico and Colombia. So it's all a bunch of bullshit. It's all a ruse. Okay, they're killing innocent people. I don't know if there, have been a lot of deaths. I don't know where they were targeting. You have some good questions down here. Is Mexico next? Question mark, right? Because if y'all remember back a month or two ago, Trump was threatening Colombia because the Colombian president was getting mouthy and letting him know, yo, this shit you doing, bombing these boats out the water, these little fishing boats that they've been bombing out the water, that was coming off the coast of Venezuela. Colombia's president was letting them know, like, yo, what is you doing? You can't do that. And so because of that, they were already getting kind of funny with Colombia. Trump even came out his mouth and threatened Colombia a few weeks ago. If y'all didn't hear that or know that, Mexico, we know that the president there, in terms of her presentation, is left-leaning. Okay, she's anti, you know what, the big I. you know, the hidden hand, real ruler of America, the country that is running things in the back end. Okay, and so you have her over in Mexico, and she has been, you know, very much left leaning, very much not trying to acquiesce to everything the U.S. wants. And so you have these strong governments that are very much pro sovereignty for Latin American countries, and it's not aligned with what the U.S. wants right now, per what they wrote in the national security strategy, okay? And they lined it up for you. Like, you don't have to look for, everybody keep asking, what is this about? What is this about? Oh, it's about oil. No, it's not just about oil. It's about control. It's not about oil. It's about control. That is what they're doing down in the bottom of the Caribbean, at the top of South America right now. They are exercising their control over the region. And believe me when I tell you that that Venezuela is not the end of this. Retired veteran, I'm seriously concerned about what you should be very seriously concerned, and thank you. You know, I know I'm not into any military actions. I don't believe in any of it, but I appreciate those who, you know, went into doing those things and had, you know, goodness in their hearts, or what they thought was good. Because a lot of us have been brainwashed, and so we didn't know what we were doing when we were doing it. But now coming back and seeing what the U.S. is doing now, and starting to understand more of how much sorrow, tears, and blood the U.S. brings forward everywhere it goes in the world. This is a very, very rogue regime we're dealing with. This is a rogue regime. This is a country that has no boundaries, a nation, a regime that has no boundaries about what it will do. It doesn't care about who will perish. It doesn't care about the impact on societies, on countries, on children, on women. The United States has never cared about any of that. And that is why I'm so passionate, and this is why I have raised my children internationally. I'm a single mother. I was supposed to be a statistic. I wasn't supposed to you know, be able to afford to travel or do any of these things, but I refused. I had it in my heart. I refused to raise my children Americanized, so that they will be indoctrinated and brainwashed into the horrors of the country that we have been born in. I do not live in the United States. I live in Brazil. I have not lived in the United States for 7 years, and I have spent the last 20 years of my life avoiding the United States with my children, because I have a grown child too, at all costs. So basically, we have been living all over the world for the last 20 years. Now, we have lived in the U.S. too. Every time I'm there, I feel a sense of doom, a sense of dread, and I know I'm in the wrong place. So, you know, that is a reality of the United States. But saying all that to say is that what is happening in Venezuela right now is just another atrocity. It's another notch on the belt of the United States. Talk about Syria, talk about Iraq, talk about Yemen this year, talk about the recent bombings in Nigeria, Afghanistan, all these countries that they have been in, saying they were going in, Israel and Palestine, all these countries that they said that they were going to go in to bring peace, to bring democracy, and look what they bring. And this is why my anthem is Sorrow, Tears, and Blood by Fela Kuti. Because for me, I can't think of no one that brings more sorrow, tears, and blood than the United States of America. No entity on the planet. And so for me, it's very important that people wake the fuck up. Stop believing the propaganda. The United States does not have the best interest of any body, any entity, any nation, any people. That is why the Americans are living so poorly now. They have the best interest of no one in mind. And that is a fact. No, I do not live in America, and I hope that I never do again. You know, there were times when I'm like feeling very sad about the fact that I have to be so separated from my family, that I haven't really been able to have that closeness with family, because I just could never stay in that country. But I'm so grateful now I live in a country that is peaceable, that is kind, where I live in safety. I actually live in one of the biggest cities in the world, and it's safe. You know, So these are, yeah, it's really serious right now. And yeah, so what's happening? I just want to get back to Venezuela because that's the focus. They have taken the president and his wife off the premises. We don't know where they are. We don't know what's going on. And yeah, we're waiting for more news. Supposedly, they're going to be tried for all of these things that there's no proof of them having done. And mind you, the president of the United States just recently, because remember, he's been on his thing where he's been forgiving the crimes of different criminals, and allowing them to go and be free and not have to serve prison sentences. So recently, he forgave a major, one of the biggest traffickers of UGs in the region of the Americas. From, I think he was from Honduras, forgave him and allowed him to go back to Honduras for trafficking, like the amount of tons of substances he was trafficking into the United States is something your mind can't even wrap around. He forgave him. He allowed him to go be free. So if it was about that, if it was about UGs, if it was about trafficking, then you would think that that wouldn't have happened, right? Oh, shut the hell up. Okay, you don't know nothing. If you knew anything, you would know that down, especially in Miami, in the South, especially in Cuba, that there's a conservative core there of Latinos who have been heavily brainwashed, okay? And they're the constituency of Marco Rubio, who is what the head of defense in the United States, and they have been brainwashed to the core. Okay, and they're also selfish and deviants and elitist. Those are the ones that were ran out of their countries because they wanted to enslave people who look like me and have you sharecropping and working for free and doing all of that shit. And then when that stuff got turned over by the revolutions in Cuba and different things like that, they took their asses to Miami and had a vendetta for anyone that was of that same mentality to free the people and make the societies more egalitarian. Cuba and Venezuela and different countries like that. You know nothing, period. You don't know nothing about what's really going on down in the Caribbean and South America and stuff. I live here and I've lived in various countries and all over the Caribbean. You know nothing, okay? And in Miami and in South Florida. So yeah, y'all, shit is serious. I don't need to stay out of anybody's business. This is my business. I live on this planet right here, and I live in Latin America, and this is my business. You understand? So yeah. All I gotta say right now is, you guys just educate yourself. Just find out and learn more about America and how it moves and what it does. And the reason why this is so important, again, is because for those of us who are looking to move abroad, because there's a lot of people who are interested in leaving America, moving to other countries, moving to places where they can live like humans and have a humane experience. Well, Latin America is under attack right now, just so you know. So just because a lot of just because it's just Venezuela right now, I don't think it's going to be just Venezuela going into the future. And the future is looking like they're going to come down here and make sure that they have puppet governments installed all over Latin America so that they have full control. Latin America has a lot of resources. The Amazons are here. The Venezuela has the biggest oil reserve in the entire globe. They have more natural resources than oil. Mexico has things we need. There's so many resources down here. And in the National Security Strategy 2025, they talk about how they're looking to decouple from China. In other words, not be so dependent on China for all of these imports of different things and all of that manufacturing, and bring it back overseas nearby into their backyard, which is Latin America and the Caribbean. Okay, and so that is what's happening now. They're trying to pull away from their dependency on China and bring it back on this side of the world. And they want to show anyone who's trying to be over here flexing any kind of power that they don't have no power on this side. Everything on this side belongs to us. And that is what the U.S. is doing. I mean, most heads of state and leaders ain't shit. Y'all don't know that yet? They're not for you. That's nothing new. But we're talking about the level of going into somebody's country and bombing them, talking about you're trying to bring peace to the country and get rid of rogue governments and stuff. When you're a rogue government, the U.S., that government is not lawful. They're not doing anything with any kind of legal parameters whatsoever. Everything they're doing is illegal right now on an international scale. But guess what? Nobody wants to touch them. Nobody want to come up against them. So they're just doing that. None of this stuff is legal. None of it is humane. None of it is okay. And Latin America, hell yeah, they've had some terrible leaders down here. They've also, for those of you who don't know, because like I'm very clear on the fact that Americans don't study history and don't have no kind of concept of world or understanding of geopolitics. The fact of the matter is, back in the 60s and the 70s and all that, it was buku military regime that the American government had put in place down here in Latin America. Buku. We talking Chile. We talking Brazil. We're talking, all over Latin America. They had installed regimes, and that is what they're going back to right now, is installing regimes. You have to research. You have to get an understanding of what's happening. This is not the time to be, checked out. I know Americans very easily check out. They think they're in the best nation in the world, and they gonna just coast like that. But it ain't that time no more. Folks is living rough in the United States. America is attacking countries around the United States. It's bad right now. And so it's time to do that research, the research that you were avoiding, that you didn't do, or maybe you just weren't into politics like that. Get an understanding of some of what has been happening in the region, because it's a regional thing. America has it in the national security strategy outlined that they would like to bring their operations back overseas to this region of the world, and that they're going to dominate Latin America and the Caribbean. So, this Venezuela thing is just step one. Don't get it twisted. This is not the end. Okay? And there's going to be more countries that they'll go into, and we're going to see. I think people should just be very aware, very alert. If you're thinking to move down here, I would consider, really consider where you're going. I think Brazil is a very stable society, but because we know how rogue and how unpredictable Trump is, we don't really know what he's going to be doing. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. This is an unlawful government that is in place in the United States, period, and point blank. Nothing they're doing is aligned with any kind of constitutional anything. And so we can't predict it. And it's also not based on anything but just their whims of what they see fit to do and the agendas that they have set that aren't necessarily beneficial for, your average American or anybody. Yeah, foolish woman. Yeah, I know. There's so many of you NPCs that don't think for yourselves, especially in the United States, and will come on and be in support of your country going in and striking and bombing another country just so they can get control over it. Yeah. And that is why the world is going through what it's going through, because of the propensity towards being pure evil that so many of, especially Americans, are dealing with. And, it's going to have to get cleaned up. I mean, at the end of the day, there is ma'at, there is divinity, there is balance. And so that balance is going to come in whether y'all like it or not. And so all of the wickedness and stuff, it can continue to do what it's going to do, but it will get cleaned out in one clean slate eventually. So we know that to be the truth. Oh no, I don't feel emotional with it. You don't see me going off, honey. Emotional about what? What am I foolish about? Talk to me about it. If you got something to say it on some real shit. What I'm doing is just trying to let people know what's happening, because a lot of people come here and they want to know more about come to this channel, and they want to know if it's a good time to move abroad, what's it like in Latin America. Where else would you rather live? Oh, honey, I haven't lived in the United States in 7, 8 years. Who are you talking to? I wouldn't live there if you paid me. And believe me, I have a 21-year-old child, and I have been living most of my life in other countries, and my quality of life is far beyond anything you could imagine living in that place, okay? So, yeah, don't come over here with that stupid shit. Okay, don't come over here with that. I live in Brazil, bitch. I don't have to prove nothing to you. I can walk right here. It's so easy. It's so fucking easy. Yeah, that's what it is. So, yeah, you tried it. Okay? You tried it. Go back and look at my videos and you'll see what it is. I don't have to lie about shit. Before here, I was in the Caribbean. Okay, that's why I'm passionate, because I know what the hell is going on, and I have peoples all over this region of the world because I lived with them. I've been living in the Caribbean, I've been living here, I've been living in Central America, been lived in Hawaii, been lived in Europe, lived in Africa. Don't come on here with that shit. You don't even know who you're talking to, honey. And that's with children. And it's easy, you can track it. Just go back and look at my videos. So yeah, so that's what it is, y'all. Just stay aware, because these entities like to come on my videos, especially these FBA entities, just straight like demons. Ain't never left the U.S. in their lives, and really think they're in some kind of a country that is to be hailed as some wonderful place to live, and a country that's doing wonderful things on the planet, and is the most wicked establishment that exists on the planet Earth. I'm still under the protection of the USA. How? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm emotional. I'm so emotional. Yeah, okay. I'm out of control, right? Yeah, don't come on here with that shit. Get your ass up out of here, okay? I already know about you demons. You probably some BM. Okay? Don't come on here with that shit. Don't try to gaslight me. That's all y'all know how to do, is project and gaslight. Do not come on here with that. Yeah, you think you brainwashing somebody, right? I'm emotional now. Every time we tell the truth and are real about some shit, we're emotional. Don't try to gaslight me. I'm been beyond anything you could even think about. You are nothing compared to what knowledge and information comes through me just naturally without me having to even try. You don't know shit. So get your ass on. This is not the channel for you. Take your ass to one of these FBA channels. You know what I mean? So you could talk about how great America is and how they gonna give you reparations. I don't give a F, period, about none of that bullshit. Okay? We talking about real life here, and people are gonna need to position themselves for this world war we're in, and then position themselves well for it. And then it's not about being attached to no fake ass propaganda. Okay? Uh, can you get off of here? Who cares if I'm disrespecting it? What is to respect? Get off of here. There's nothing to respect. So yeah, y'all. They have taken. So supposedly they have the president of Venezuela and his wife up in New York City, or New York State. So that's where they're gonna supposedly be trying them for all these crimes that they have no proof of. So yeah, and on, and we can expect that they'll be installing a puppet. And they had a puppet that they have been kind of, I think she's a CIA, she's connected to the CIA. Her name's Machado, and they had just given her a Nobel Peace Prize. So they've been kind of priming everything for people to accept her when they install her. So yeah, just get ready. It's not new. This is what they were doing before they gave the sense of sovereignty to Latin America, where everyone was considering themselves to be sovereign nations down here. Before that, they were installing puppet governments, causing coups d'etats, doing all kinds of shit down here in this region of the world. So that this is kind of like them starting that whole thing back over, because they realized they wanted to move a lot of their operations and their efforts out of, you know, the Arab countries and out of China. I mean, that's basically, like, if we could summarize things, that's what's happening. They want to come back over here and take shit over and be able to use this as their stomping grounds, and to use the people of this region for fodder, just as slaves and whatever they want to use the people for, right? And so that's what's happening. I have done a lot of research on this. I definitely, like, I encourage everyone to go in, and if you're not going to read the document, at least skim it, or at least even get you some AI summations of the art of the document. But it's called the National Security Strategy 2025, the Dunroe, or it used to be the Monroe Doctrine of the late 1800s, the present, or I don't even know, Monroe, yeah, of the late 1800s. Yeah, it is a chaotic world. And then it's very chaotic, Orion. And it's hard to know, you know, how to be or what to do. And usually I just stay kind of quiet. I do a few little videos, try to encourage people to kind of get out of the US so you can free your mind a little bit, because it's an extremely toxic environment. So I try to encourage people to get out so that at least they can, yeah, President James Monroe in the late 1800s. I don't know the exact date, but the Monroe Doctrine, it looks like they're trying to like reinstate that or get that energized again. And at one time, they did really consider Latin America and the Caribbean and every region of the Americas to be like, a place where they could just do what they will, what they want with. And so that is coming back around, and it's just really concerning because, at the end of the day, these are sovereign countries. Like they fought, especially the Spanish speaking countries in Latin America, they really fought it out to have that freedom from Spain and what have you. And they thought that they were free. And then you had America meddling down here back, 30, 40, 50 years ago, super meddling down here. And then, here they are again. It's just crazy. It's crazy. There's a lot to think about. If you're thinking about moving down here, you need to really, really think about it. I don't know if it's a good place to come at this part. Oh, I didn't say all of that, but you can go ahead and have a conversation with yourself, Blue Neptune. I don't even, yeah, no, don't put any words in my mouth, please. But yeah, and so what else is going on? I am paying close attention because, as you all know, Brazil is considered part of whatever, the BRICS alliance or whatever, right? So that's Brazil, that's Russia, Iran, China, and South America. I mean, not South America, but South Africa. So, that's the BRICS alliance. And they have a lot of other countries that want to be fold into BRICS, but they haven't, for some reason. Even Venezuela is not part of BRICS, but because supposedly Venezuela was quite allied with Russia and China and all that, supposedly, we thought that that would kind of maybe bring some pause to the U.S. with all of this mess, but, it is what it is. It is what it is, y'all. So just keep your eyes open, stay just abreast of everything that's happening, and don't take your eyes off of it, because there might be some indication of how to move, how I don't even know what you're talking about. You're such a troll. Can you go away? Like, love what? There is no love. I know you're probably someone of the same shade of me, probably a man full of hate, you know what I mean, coming on here trying to disrupt things. Just keep it moving. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm foolish. Well, you stupid. Get your ass on. We don't care. You know? I already know these. I know about you entities that like to come around and disturb and disrupt. And if somebody's talking some real shit on a live stream, you need to come around and troll on them. But just keep it moving. I'm with you. Hi, Harrison. Peace and love. Thank you for coming on. Yeah, I just want people to be good and be able to make good decisions. Like, this channel is about like moving abroad, basically, and I want people to be able to do it. Whatever. I want people to be able to do it and do it with a sound mind and make some good decisions, because right now it's getting hot. It's getting hot. And I wish more people were awake and aware. I know that they have been showing different Venezuelans that have been celebrating all over the place. And I'm not going to talk like I know exactly what their conditions have been under Chavez, under Maduro. Like, I don't know. I'm not down there. I have Venezuelan friends here in Brazil. I do know some Venezuelans. But I know those Venezuelans are very conscious, like me, and are very upset about what's happening in their home country right now. I do know that. I have talked to them. So I know that, I'm on the right side of things. And that the U.S., again, brings sorrow, tears, and blood. I know that. There's enough history. We don't have to go far, and we don't have to do much to get that information. We know that the U.S. does not come in peace whenever it goes somewhere. Okay? Never has, never will. And so it just is what it is. It's the entity, it's the beast system that we're under right now. And they have a lot of stuff in mind, y'all, because for those of you who haven't looked into technocracy and the technocrats and the Monroe Doctrine and what they have, you know, Project 2026 or 2025 and national security 20, they got so many documents. They have so many things where they're telling us exactly what they want to do, but and it's beyond oil. Spill a king. It's beyond oil. That's why I keep telling people, yeah, y'all think it's just one thing. It's not just one thing. It's layered. So what they're doing right now is layered, and it's not just oil. America is not begging nobody for oil like that. What's happening is that there's layered agendas, things that they want to do, and it has everything to do with control, world domination, and being able to enslave the average person, you know, under that system, whether it be digitally or even physically by having them working in sweatshops and shit like that. Yeah, you will not be able to say, yeah, well, that digital ID is coming down, isn't it? It's on its way. So that's very close. Not only that, but they're going to tie that social credit right onto it. So, you know, if you do anything that's seen as outside of the parameters of what they think is aligned with their agendas, you lose your social credit, which could impact the funds that you think you have and everything like that, and your wealth and everything. So this is what we're dealing with, you know. This is what we're dealing with. Keep it shut, Neptune. If you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say it. Oh, thank you, Harrison. Yeah, you know, I get a lot of trolls on here. It's usually those ones that, you know, are really stuck. The really stuck people that live in the U.S., especially the melanated folks that don't know what to do. So they like to come on and harass anyone who's even considered freeing themselves and going and living like humans in other places. So they usually come on here and they're jealous and envious and weak. And so they like to attack people like me who have freed myself, freed my children. My children are wonderful. It's because I didn't allow them to go to public schools in the United States. It's because I didn't raise them in that hell. My children are wonderful. I don't have to worry about them doing crime. I don't have to worry about them doing shit. They didn't grow up in ghettos. I was a single mom. I was supposed to be ghettoized, a black single mom. You know what I mean? But I refused, and I refused to live in America. And so I only did it a few times while they were growing up. And that isolation has allowed them to be such elevated and amazing children. And I'm so grateful. What is my opinion on Marco Rubio? Oh my God. I mean, we know the vendetta he has. That's all I'm going to say. We know his vendetta. We know a lot of this is him guiding and suggesting and telling the Prezi what he needs to be doing, because that Prezi don't know nothing. All he knows is what he's being told by different advisors and different things like that. He don't know nothing. He don't read. Y'all know that. And so he's a big problem when it comes to Latin America right now. That dude is a big problem. This is a major problem we're dealing with right now. His vendettas, his issues with what happened with Cuba, all of those things. Shalom. Yeah. America's the best? Okay, if you say so. Trump, I don't even know if Trump can read. Like, seriously. Y'all, stop playing. You know that we don't even know if Trump even has basic intellect skills. We know he can't talk. He can't make a sentence properly. You know what I mean? He can't actually deliver anything in a way that gives any kind of hint at any kind of intellect. We know that. That much we know. So this whole thing is a scam. How could that person be the president of anything? That person, and I say that loosely. We don't know what none of this is, y'all. We don't really know what none of this is. It's all given scam. We're being scammed majorly. But one thing I do know is that we need to stay awake and stay aware and watch out, because they got a lot of plans, and it's not just going to stop with Venezuela. Because of what they have outlined in the national security strategy. They have a lot more in. I think someone had asked about Mexico. I think Mexico's on the agenda. I think Colombia, maybe even Brazil, because even though it seems like Brazil and America have a good, cool, mellow thing going, I don't know about that, because Brazil is the most wealthy and powerful country in the region. And so, you know, it's useful for something, right? when you're trying to take over whole regions. It's gigantic. It's got everything. The Amazons, the bulk of the Amazons is in this country that I live in. All the medicine comes from, they derive their medicines from plants in the Amazons. You know what I mean? So that's the truth of the matter, is that we don't know. We don't know how far they're going to go. But the one thing I do know is that they're not going to stop at Venezuela. I do know that much. And so for those of you who, are like to stay in your little bubble and act like ain't nothing going on, yeah. No, something's going on. Something is going on. And I just hope and pray that more of us wake up. I don't know, what can be done to get, who, you know, in cuffs, like he belongs in, and put away somewhere. Okay, but for anything else, I know that at least be aware, at least be able to teach your children what's proper, at least be able to connect with other people and talk about possibilities of sovereignty for each other by working together, maybe having homesteads together, having land, buying property, doing different things so that people can have more sovereignty, because that's what we have to do right now. We don't have that many other options with what's happening, you know. So yeah, y'all, just peace and love. Anyone else in here that wants to say anything? I'm about to wrap this up because I got some other stuff to do, but I had to come on because I try to update you regularly on some of the geopolitical stuff, and then it hit today, and I felt it. I got up. They did it around 1 a.m. and I was up as I couldn't sleep last night, and so, and believe me, Venezuela's right above us. At 7 a.m. I got up, which was early for me on a Saturday, and I was like, and I opened my phone, and there it was. They were out there doing their dirt. Isn't exactly what you're inciting the U.S. creed? Okay. If you say so, but yeah, that's it, y'all. Just take care of yourselves. I'm inside now, so you'll hear the fan because it's hot where I live. And peace and love. PRSCE, I don't know. But yeah, I live in Brazil, for those of you who are just coming on here. And so I'm keeping a close tab on what's happening up in Venezuela. One, because it's very close. It's a border country. They have a tight relationship with Brazil. And Brazil is BRICS. They're very kind of allied with this whole BRICS concept. I don't believe in anything that the governments of this world do. So it's like I hear about these different NATO, BRICS, all that shit, but I don't even know if any of it's real. I just kind of see it as these people that are in power, or so-called people that are in power, who are very much anti-humanity. That's what I see. And active colonization, that's exactly what it is. And so I don't take any of it too serious, but I do know that they have pitted it all like as if the USA and certain European nations and other countries are considered, kind of anti this whole BRICS alliance. So yeah, we are here in Brazil, and, I don't trust none of these governments. I just think people need to be focused on figuring out how to be as sovereign as they can in their individual lives and in their familial lives, and trying to figure out how they can ally with other people of like minds and be sovereign with them, and that's it. We have to figure it out. Like, we don't have no choice. It's like a survival thing at this point. And we've been so tied down and locked in by all of this technology crap, and working these jobs and all of this stuff that we've been doing to try to so-called survive, when we could have just been living, like normal people. So yeah, y'all, just consider it, think about it. Drop me any kind of notes below, except the trolls. If you're a troll, take your ass on. Don't nobody care about nothing you got to say. And yeah, that's it, y'all. Give thanks. Thank you for everyone who commented. I'm grateful. And yeah, have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful